What's up, guys? Barry Gaming here, back with some more Idle Heroes, and today we have our reset on our monthlies. We have a new Broken Spaces to go over. I think I'm gonna save the actual push for the next hero to come out, because we should have the Shadow Hero coming out later this month, about a week or two away. So I want to do that, but I really want to take the time and talk about Stage 8 and especially Stage 9. You guys have seen, even on our account, it took quite a few badges doing it in a pretty, I'd say, suboptimal setup. There's a couple heroes here that are kind of key in getting very, very, very easy Stage 8 and especially Stage 9 clears. Because as you know, Stage 9, you're going up against that Drake and that Russell combo. The Drake defense down is absolutely devastating, especially when you pair that with Russell's ping damage. It is a ton. Now, the resources you gain from this isn't huge. And at least in the monthly carnival, you still only have to get to Stage 7 to actually finish out your monthly carnival. You don't have to clear 9, which I think was a really good idea by DH Games. But 8 and 9 are very difficult. There's a couple key heroes that, surprisingly, they just keep staying around the meta. No matter how much they get pushed out, they just claw their way right back into the meta. And that is a couple of heroes. The first one being Delacium. So, yes, this man, he somehow manages to find a way to be used in every single game mode, no matter what it is. You're thinking, there's no way Delacium's going to be used. And it's like, well, actually, he is. But yeah, so this is interesting. It all comes down to his transmissive seed. Once again, when a round ends, it replicates 3 random dots or attribute reduction effects from 1 random enemy to 2 others. So essentially, there's only 2 enemies. It's just going to keep replicating it between the 2. Man, I can't talk today. Anyway, this is really important because the other half of this equation, or rather, I'm going to call it a 3-way equation, because even if you don't have the other part of this equation, and all you're using is your Heart Watcher can actually start stacking an attack reduction, which will then replicate, but you have to make sure Heart Watcher has an active in round 1 for this to work. It is a 25% attack reduction. It's not absolutely huge, but if all you have is a Delacium, throw him on the team. Make sure you have an active on the Heart Watcher round 1. Hopefully your Heart Watcher, or whoever your weakest hero is, will live through round 1, because most of the time they should. They really should, because Russell is only going to be gaining energy unless you gave him an active. But even then, if you give him an active, he goes in the air. He doesn't deal his damage yet. You have time to start replicating that attack debuff. The whole point of this type of cheesing setup is to do this, a huge stack of attack reduction, so the enemy is doing next to no damage. Because you can't use things like crowns, you can't use AMBs, because that Drake defense down will slowly pick apart your enemy team or your ally team, and it really doesn't matter what you have equipped. Now, the very last piece, the one that I find it's funny. Yes, we come back to our boy Tix. So, yeah, as much as we want him to leave, and as much as him not being a real solid PvE boss damage dealer, what he is really good at is, again, stealing and reducing the enemy attack. Not only does his active do it, but his end of round will swap attack, which basically will, make them have much lower attack. And then also, he has his basic attack too. The basic attack also hits the target with the highest attack dealing damage and stealing them or reducing 40% more attack. So that one is really huge. Honestly, if a Tix just has a basic round 1, that might not be the worst thing in the world, because he'll be going after the target with the highest attack and instantly reducing them by 40%. Then you have both the Heart Watcher damage reduction or attack reduction and the Tix attack reduction being replicated. So in reality, your team can be quite normal, at least if we're talking like end game. I've seen it done with the lowest of 2 tickets for a full Broken Spaces 9 clear. Mainly, you of course run your queen with a wolf because, you know, bleed from the queen. She gives tons and tons of buffs, especially this, the all damage dealt increased right there. And of course, you're going to use your Vesa for damage dealing. Now, do you need the Vesa? Not necessarily. In the most optimal setups, this will probably work very, very well. You could probably still run the Ithaca army, the Ithaca Delacium army, and maybe add a Tixin as well, just for some added debuffs. Granted, you're going to be replicating a ton of the attack reductions and not just the dots, so your damage might not be as good, but I have yet to see a Delacium army take this down. It could be very easy. I'm not sure, though, with that many debuffs, if Delacium has a good amount of time replicating them, but if you're running 2 to 3 Delacium, I feel like you shouldn't have a problem. An Ithaca, a Heart Watcher, a Drake, 3 Delaciums. I feel like these Delaciums should probably have enough attribute reduction, so long as your Heart Watcher is using an active in round 1. I think this should be fine. I think it should be fine. But if you don't have a Delacium army, but you do have one, now granted, you're probably going to need him at like E5 or something like that. I don't think a 5-star is going to live long enough to get that taken care of, but it is something we could test on another one of our accounts just to see how it works out. Yeah, Tix finally has yet another use, and finally has a use in a game mode that he never had a use for. It was pretty interesting. Hopefully this helps you guys out. It's interesting to see these heroes kind of like, oh, they're perfect in this, and then now they're not so great, but now, hey, they're great once again. So if any of you out there have your broken spaces up, if you have Tix, if you have Delacium, I would love to run it on your account. So either hit me up on Discord, leave a comment down below, because it's been a while since I've actually had the pleasure of jumping on a Delacium army. And I really want to see what a Delacium army can do in the new Broken Spaces 8 and 9. I feel like it's still probably the best setup. You just really have to hope you can get some good replications going with those attack debuffs. Or if you have a Delacium and a Tix, I would love to try it out with some Transcendence heroes. See if we can get it done, like the whole entire thing done for like 10 tickets or less. I might try to use mine to do this, but again, I love keeping my broken spaces open for new heroes because we try to build every new hero on our account, just so you know it can be a little bit more fun. We would, of course, build the new hero on the Shadow Meme team, but you can't really review a hero all that good. If you are also planning on building the new hero, leave me a comment as well. But definitely check this out. See if it works. I've seen it done 2 or 3 different times. I'd love to hear some feedback from you guys. So leave a comment down below. Make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And I'll see you guys next time.